Hey, good morning, Huntsville, and welcome in as we rock and roll on I don't know like motivational Monday, Monday. I don't know, Karen. None of those sound good.
They don't.
Really?
They don't.
I was trying to think of one this morning, but I couldn't think of.
Well, I was thinking last week when we left talking about the moonshine, we could start a new tradition and have Moonshine Monday.
Hey, I'm already ready to go. Let's rock and roll. Moonshine Monday getting underway here on a new edition of. I don't know if we'd make it through the show, Karen,
Probably
but
not.
We'd still have some fun, though. Well, hey, I want to welcome you in here on a Monday. Thanks for joining us, as always, episode 45, as we continue to rock and roll here. And appreciate everybody being a part of this program and joining us, as always, as we are, my goodness, already June the 12th. Can you believe that, Karen?
Half the year.
Where does that go?
I don't know.
I feel like yesterday I was talking, to my mom, and my nieces are all grown. They spent the week with us last week, and we had a fun week. And one of my niece is 16. She's planning on going to Sam Houston. She's just now getting her driver's permit. My other niece is right behind her. And just like, man, I remember when they were first born, I was laying in their backyard in South Dakota where they had grown up. And we were just laying on the grass taking a cool little family photo. And I'm like, what the heck happened to time? But you know what?
Quickly.
We try to embrace the time here on Good Morning Huntsville, and so we want to welcome you in. Let us know what you're thankful for this morning as you're waking up with us here bright and early. Again, we always appreciate you, and we already have some folks chiming in. We'll get to those. Beautiful bouquet of flowers. We'll talk about Leah Lineback and our good friends over at Sweet Caroline's here in just a few moments. But as always, we wouldn't be able to bring you this show on Mondays without the great folks at Walker County Federal Credit Union, Miss Karen Denman. She is Senior Loan Officer? Is that kind of the official title?
That's the title.
That is the title. Senior Loan Officer, but doer of all things good at WCFCU.
Yes.
So what's been going on in your world? I mean, I hate to bring this up, and we talked in the break or before we came on, but, there was another storm that came through, and thank goodness this one wasn't anything like the other one, but some limbs were down again.
Yes, luckily. And in fact, yesterday when we were at the pool, all of a sudden this big top of a tree fell out and scared us all, and luckily there was no car there, so.
So it didn't fall in the pool, though?
No, not in the pool.
Man, yeah, that's...
Right on the other side of the gate.
We were driving back from Bridget's sister. They had just purchased a home in the Woodlands area, and so we were driving back from there, and it's 8 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden it's nice and bright behind us as the sun's setting, and then as we look to the north, we see these ominous clouds, and I start thinking, my goodness, are we in for it again? And I look, severe thunderstorm warning. We get on the access road, over there behind Elkins, coming off of, what is that? Like you take the exit at the state park and then you come back. It's kind of a little crisscross to go back. And all of a sudden, it was like all heck broke loose. Trees were whipping. I saw branches flying. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yes.
And then we pull into the neighborhood and it's already littered with some big branches. And the storm hadn't even hit yet. It was just the wind in front of it.
Right.
So, anyways, we're thankful to be here and bring it to you.
Yes, we're thankful for electricity, too.
Yeah. Did you guys lose power?
Yes.
So you were at Rodeo.
We were at Rodeo. The power went out. It was out for about 30 minutes or so. And then when I got home, I had no power. So, anyway.
Well, the good news,
it was a warm night.
The good news, Karen, is you're at Rodeo, and luckily refrigeration and things keep cold for a long time.
Yes.
So the good old beverages were still nice and cold.
We'll just ride it out.
Oh, yeah.
In the dark.
That's the way to do it. So, well, again, and hope everybody out there is safe as well after those storms that came through. And here we are rocking and rolling. I was looking out this morning, too, and I got up, and it was kind of weird because it's been so bright in the mornings. And this morning, for some reason, I woke up at 3:30 and just, you ever have those mornings where you wake up way too early, and then all of a sudden you're kind of dozing back asleep, and you set an alarm, and it's like you take these 10-minute morning naps, I guess, before,
Keep snoozing, snooze.
Yeah.
I do that often.
And what's weird is I don't normally remember my dreams, but in those little 10-minute snooze segments, I quickly fall in, I guess, to REM sleep because I start dreaming.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and I'm like, is this reality? And I'm looking around and I'm like, yeah, it's reality. So I looked out this morning and it was dark still. I was like, man, it's going to be a cloudy day. I don't even know if rain's in the fork. I didn't even look at the weather today.
I didn't either.
But I looked out and I said, you know what, Karen, I was thinking of this as I drove in this morning. We always try to encourage people and inspire them here on the show. And I said, you know what, maybe cloudy, kind of overcast this morning. But you know what? we're going to make it a sunny, bright day regardless.
Right.
So think about that in your heart today as you wake up. Maybe there's some cloudiness in your life. Something's happened to you. Something's happened to a friend or a family. Maybe you lost somebody. You know, I've had some friends that have lost people, and it's really tough to go through those situations, and it's hard in that moment to try to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But there is light, and just surround yourself with your friends and your family, and they're always going to lift you up. So we wanted to start with that this morning. I did mention, too, Walker County Federal Credit Union is our Monday co-host. We wouldn't be able to bring you this show. We've got a great guest today. I'm so tired of the cliche. No offense, because Casa does this. Love you, Casa. Not about you, because I just started thinking about this. But we don't need just Christmas in July. Let's have Christmas in June.
Let's do.
And so we've already got Santa Claus hiding back here. And so it's great. I know Christmas in July, and we fully support, Casa has a great event coming up. But we started thinking, let's start the ball a little bit early, and let's do a little Christmas in June here this morning. And so a good friend of mine, George Pitts, is known as Santa George, by the way. That was just his birth name, but his real name is Santa George. And he is joining us this morning, and he's going to talk about what he's been up to, spreading a little holiday cheer, and how you can get in touch with him and make things happen early. So we're excited to have him. We'll talk about how we met and dig into a lot of great things that are happening. I also wanted to mention earlier, you may see this beautiful bouquet of flowers. Our good friend Leah Lineback joined us a little bit earlier. She dropped these off. She'll usually bring these in every other week or so. So guess what? You can enter to win. Karen, you won.
Pretty.
You won last week. You're probably wishing that you entered to win this week now.
Yes.
And I was leaving the house this morning, and Elliot's Jewelers has some beautiful jewelry that you won last week.
Oh, awesome.
And a gift card of $20. And the jewelry, by the way, is valued at over $100.
Great.
And
can't wait to see it.
You shared the stuff. And our system just randomly picks people, and it picked you. And I left this morning. I was taking out the trash, and I said, I'm so glad that I got to change the kitchen trash, because I had your gift from Elliot's Jewelers and a gift card, because you won a Visa gift card, by the way, too, right on the table. And I said, this is great. I won't forget it now. And guess what I did? I got in the car and drove over here, and I forgot it this morning.
I'll sit stuff in front of the door sometimes and walk right past it.
Yeah. I don't know why that happens,
I know.
But Leah is so gracious to bring us these. You can win this beautiful bouquet of flowers here this week. All you got to do right now is just like this broadcast, comment with Good Morning Huntsville, and share it, and you will automatically be entered to win. Again, a big thank you to Sweet Caroline's Floral Shop here in Huntsville. And by the way, I did want to mention that Leah's got some great events coming up. Mark your calendars right now. Still a few weeks away, but open house on July the 1st. Their Bloom Bar and Plant Bar will be open from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So it's a really awesome opportunity to go in, check out her shop, and see all the great things that she is doing. And then also something a little bit closer coming up. The Americana Workshop is next Saturday at Farmhouse Furniture and Gifts from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And so find out more information. You can follow her on Facebook at Sweet Caroline's Floral Shop. But again, that Americana Workshop is from 6 to 7:30 next Saturday coming up. I love that the event is in the evening, because you can work and then you can go have some fun after work.
Yes.
We just posted, Karen, by the way, a very exhaustive, extensive VBS list. When I was a kid, I always liked going to Vacation Bible School.
Me too.
And we just posted on one of the groups. I said, hey, if you know of any VBSs, let us know. And people started flooding in with them. And so we've published that on Hello Huntsville as well. And I'm trying to, and what I found, and the reason I brought it up, is a lot of them are at night from like 6 to 8:30.
Oh, okay.
So it's really cool. So, you can, I think maybe they do that because there's a lot of folks that work, that volunteer in a church, so they want to go help out afterwards.
Yeah.
So great things happening. You can find out all the information online at hellohuntsvilletx.com. By the way, Walker County Federal Credit Union, they have been included in our ethical business directory. That's part of y'all's sponsorship. So we got all those loaded up this weekend as well. And you can find out more information about our great friends at WCFCU on our website at hellohuntsvilletx.com. Just scroll down to the bottom, and you can see all the great things that they are up to as well. And I'm proud to have them included in our ethical business directory. You may be asking, what does it mean to be, an ethical business? Just doing what's right, saying what you're going to do, what you say you're going to do, take care of people. And WCFCU fits that mold perfectly. So visit them, check them out online. And we'll talk more on the back end of the show about what you guys have been up to.
Okay.
So we'll step aside. We'll take a break. A lot of comments already coming in. Let us know how you are here on a Monday as we continue to lift you up and inspire you here on Good Morning Huntsville. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. We got a little Christmas coming your way here in just a few moments. Stay with us. More to come here this morning on Good Morning Huntsville. Good morning, Huntsville. Welcome back in here on a, what do we call it, a Moonshine Monday?
Yeah.
Little Moonshine Monday. We don't have it, by the way. We wish that we did. If you're a connoisseur, is that the right word? Connoisseur or connoisseur?
Connoisseur.
I always get the words mixed up. If you're a connoisseur of moonshine, maybe a purveyor of great moonshine, feel free to drop some off over here, and we'll start a Moonshine Monday. Welcome back in on another edition of Hello Huntsville. I'm Rob Hipp, as always, joined by our great friends at Walker County Federal Credit Union, Karen Denman. She is the Senior Loan Officer, and we appreciate their support in helping us to highlight all the great things happening in and around our community. And when we talk about around our community, wanted to bring on a special guest this morning, as we talked earlier. How about a little ho, ho, ho to get us started? Man, check this out. Well, it's our good friend Santa George is joining us this morning. Hey, good to see you, Santa. What's going on? You know, you'd think it was kind of a slow season for you, but things are not slow at all.
Not at all. Just taking a little break, visiting friends and folks in Texas, and man, I love Texas. Just can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
So when I go on vacation, that's where I'm at.
Well, Santa George rolled into this, fell into this role. You know, you're going to have to tell us about the journey. Now, I will say this, you know, he did kind of, you were born in grew up in the Houston area, but then you assumed the role of Santa. We have to role play this morning, by the way. Santa was joking around, and he said, there's not a whole lot of kids that'll be watching this early in the morning, but I'm still not going to give away my secrets, you know, too many of them.
Right.
So you and I met on an airplane. I was broadcasting Sam Houston basketball, and we were talking in the middle of a break that I never get that front seat on a Southwest airline. Never get the front seat. I got on halfway through, and there was 2 rows empty. You were in the row to my right. That's how we met, Santa.
Yes, and wow, what a great beginning of a friendship. It was an enjoyable flight, and I just warmed up to you right away. Well, you warmed up to me right away.
Yeah. Well, it's always pretty easy to warm up to Santa when you got him sitting next to you.
Absolutely.
Karen, you know, the question that I have, though, why were you on an airplane, Santa? What was up with the reindeer, man?
They're doing their flight training, and, you know, I can't pull them away from that. They've got to, you know, they got to do their check flights. They got to do their, touch and goes, you know, do pattern work, and they got to be on their game when it comes time for the big show.
That's right. Very important.
They're doing some work, Karen, out here at the Huntsville, you know, airport. So they're extending the runway, so he'll be able to land all right.
Yeah.
So, hey, well, we're just having some fun this morning. We appreciate Santa George being here with us today. Again, a good friend of mine, and in the Conroe area, but still very close here to Huntsville. And you know, a lot of things that you do throughout the year. I know that we were just kind of having some fun there talking about your journey. Let us know how things really got started for you, though. You know, you grew up in the Houston area.
It started about 2016. Friends of mine that I grew up with in the old neighborhood of Sharpstown, they asked me to do a toy drive for the elementary school kids to make sure that every kid received a gift for Christmas. And I'm like, wow, I have to be part of that. So that set it off. Then the following year, in 2017, another close friend, Tankersley, he asked me to help out with his Lions Club drive that they were doing for the disaster relief for families from Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
So that was out at the furniture place out in Katy, and that was a big hit. I really enjoyed doing that effort.
Did you always have the beard and the look and everything, or kind of how did that mold in?
I grew it just gradually, and then the look just kind of like took over, and it's, you know what? I'm not taking it off. It stays. And I took it off once. And it's like, nope, never again.
And you left it on, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a way to do it. Well, Santa George is joining us this morning, and I did want to mention, too, if you don't mind me mentioning this, just thank you for your service as well, because you served in our military, and I know then you probably you weren't allowed to have the beard, right?
Nope, just the mustache, and that still had to be within regs. So it took a while to get used to the hair, because I'm going to tell you, 20 years of haircuts and fine grooming, it takes some time to get used to having hair again.
How many years have you assumed the role of Santa now?
It's 7 years.
7 years. So this is something that's fairly new, but you've taken on the role. And, you know, even when I saw you on the plane, you were decked out. Just like today, you're decked out in the candy cane shirt. Looks good. I had to adjust the lighting. You know, Karen, I was joking around earlier.
Yeah.
That camera was on him, and it was way too bright. I said, I got to turn this down a little bit. And I love the look. I love what you do. You've been so engaged in the community and, you know, spending a lot of time with kids as well. Outside of Christmas, what are some things that you're doing to kind of be involved, Phil? Or George. I'm saying Phil because I know a guy in Georgetown named Santa Phil. I knew that was going to happen.
Well, we just help out with friends and doing other work, but most of the time when I make my volunteer efforts is during the Christmas season.
Yeah.
I do block some of the calendar for doing charities because we've always believed we have to give back to the community, and that's to me that's just as important as tithes.
You know, it was great when I first met you. You know, you and I developed that friendship on the plane, and I started telling you about, you know, all the things happening in Huntsville. Of course, you're familiar with the area, being in the Houston area was where you grew up, and now in the Conroe area. But one thing that I really appreciated you, and Karen, this was amazing, because when I met him, I said, hey, we broadcast Huntsville ISD. He came out to some Huntsville baseball games for us. I think that was during the playoffs as well.
Yes, it was.
And he came all the way out to support the Hornets and be a part of that.
That was a good time. Anything and everything baseball. I can't get enough of baseball.
Did you go to Astros games?
Oh yeah, and I don't get to go as much as I want to. You know, if I could, I'd be there every home game. But I pick up a game or two during the season, and it's a good time, and it's always great because so far they haven't lost when I've gone.
Well, keep going,
Yes,
man.
keep going. Please show up.
Do you deck out in the Santa? Are you Santa at the games? Do you wear it? Do you look like Santa, or are you just, you know, hey, I'm going as George in this game?
There's no hiding this, okay? I wear my Astros jerseys and Astros hats, but it's still little youngins will come up to you, Santa, hey, you got a minute? It's like, always.
Well, we love it. Santa George joining us this morning. Speaking of the Astros, and I had your permission to share this morning. You get to do some family photos, and some of the more incredible photos. I mean, every photo you do is incredible. Anytime you get to spend time with kids and families and lift them up is great. But there is a famous Houston Astros baseball player in that photo. Tell us about this photo and who that gentleman is and his family.
That's number 22, Josh Reddick. He's retired now, but I was fortunate and blessed to be the Twins' first Santa, and so far I'm the only Santa for them. And I was doing Houston Zoo lights, and they came through, and I'm gonna tell you what, Josh cleans up great. You do not know it's him because, you know, he's just got that little boy look about him, but he didn't have his field scruff or anything, and we worked through holding the kids, taking pictures, and I didn't want to give one of the babies back. Mrs. Claus made me, you know, so don't separate the twins. Anyway, they went on, and I guess a few families later, the set manager said, you just took pictures with one of the Astros families. I'm like, really? Who was it? She said, I thought it was Verlander. And I'm like, no, there's no mistaking.
Yeah.
If he comes through, everybody knows that.
Yes,
So,
yeah, you know who Justin Verlander is.
well, as soon as she said twins, it was the Astros with twins babies. Reddick, you know, hey, I did not pick up on that. But I got in touch with his wife, Jet, after, I guess maybe March or so, and asked if I could do Christmas pictures with them as long as they'll have me. You know, it's my gift to them because I just thought that was a great moment that I got to share with them. And so I do it every year for them. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's great. I mean, you've been able to experience and bring a lot of joy to a lot of people, and I think this world needs that. Karen and can attest to this. We always lift up people on this show, and that's why Walker County Federal Credit Union wanted to get involved, because they give so much back to the community, and here you are giving back, especially during the Christmas season, but throughout the year. What is just that journey and the joy that you felt being able to lift people up and bring a little holiday spirit to people, especially when they need it?
It's a constant reminder of how blessed and fortunate I am that I have to offer that everywhere I go, because it all comes down to hope, love, and joy, and there's no way around it. That's what Jesus taught, and that's what we have to carry ourselves with. If you have that, then you can't help but pass it off to somebody else.
Sure. Well, you talked earlier and about just being involved in different organizations, and one thing that I really appreciate is you reached out to me and said, hey, I'd like to help out with our Rays of Hope drive that's presented by Elliott's Jewelers coming up at the end of July, and so we're going to have a lot of folks there, and you said, hey, I want to come out and volunteer for that. So what really tugged at your heart to want to be involved in that and what we're trying to do?
I just like being part of the community, and if there's a way I can represent, absolutely, I want to do that, because there's not much that my day, I don't do a lot. The elves do everything. So I'm just the pretty face.
Yeah, you're just directing traffic. Well, again, our good friend is joining us this morning, Santa George. We have a lot of folks chiming in. Curtis Weber saying good morning and hey, Santa George. We appreciate that. Our good friend Rick Boning saying good morning as well. Rachel Drake is joining us this morning. So good morning, Rachel. Good to have you on the show. And a lot of folks joining in as well. Grace Wakefield chiming in also this morning. And also Caitlin is joining us as well here as we're catching up this morning with a little Christmas in June. How can folks get involved with you? Because I already know Bridget and I have talked about it. And I said, you know what, we're going to hire you to come do family photos with us during Christmas time. How can folks get in touch with you to maybe start scheduling that right now, George?
Well, I'm going to share that with you.
All right.
I'll call out my phone number on the air. I don't care.
Sure.
281-881-8204. That's my Santa's hotline. And honestly, if you go to my Facebook page, Santa George TX, and we try to stay active on it. Just still learning how to do the social media. But
yeah, I imagine the internet up in the North Pole is a little bit sketchy sometimes.
Oh my goodness, we have more signal drops.
Yes, I can imagine.
Well, I did want to highlight, and we'll post up that Facebook link here in a little bit for you. Again, Santa George is joining us this morning. Karen, I mentioned earlier about events like Christmas in July that CASA does every year, and that's such a great time. What have you seen through events like that? Whenever you talk about the Christmas season, in the summer, what has that been like for you, just being a part of that and seeing it?
The CASA event's always great. The drawings that the kids do throughout the year, and their stories, and listening to how they bonded with their advocate, and it's just really, really neat.
Yeah, it's a great time to spread joy. That's one of the reasons that we wanted to have this Rays of Hope drive, because we do focus so much on the Christmas season. It is the season of giving, but there's so many that have needs throughout the year, not just at the end of the year as well. And George, you're starting to be a part of that and getting more involved 7 years in, so you're still kind of a baby Santa in a way.
True, but I've got plenty of mentors. I belong to the Lone Star Santas organization, and they give a huge amount to families that have lost everything through natural disasters, and they bring their convoy of toys to the area, to the families, and give the kids Christmas again. So whenever that situation occurs, we will hook up a trailer, and we're taking Christmas to the family.
I think a lot about that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Man, and I can't remember the name of it. It was Christmas time, and his kid wanted this doll, and I can't remember the name of that movie. But it was funny because he ends up going to this. What was my memory's getting so.
I think I know that movie.
Yeah, it was a great Jingle All the Way, I think is what it was.
I think you're right.
I think it was Jingle All the Way, and there was a comedian that was in that movie that had passed away, a few years ago. But it was funny because, he had this huge desire to get this toy for his kid, and they were, it was one of these like really well-known toys, so every kid had it. Well, he waited till the last minute, and of course it was sold out. And every time I think of you, Santa George, I think of this movie because there was, and not in a bad way, because there were some bad Santas in that movie.
Yes.
But it was funny because he ends up getting hustled and goes to some toy factory where it was these rip-off, knockoff versions of the toys. And so he's angry, and all of a sudden there's like this whole barrage of like 50 Santas that come running after him, trying to beat him up. And I think of you I don't know why, man, not in a bad way, but I just think of that movie, man. It's so funny.
Oh man, I've forgotten most of that movie, but man, that's not a way. I don't represent myself that way.
Yeah, no, this is good. I do have to ask, since you're in here, have you seen the movie? It's hilarious, with Billy Bob Thornton, Bad Santa.
I've seen parts of it, but I purposely do not see that movie. I do not want any of those ideas to pop in my head when I'm visiting with a child. No, I don't want to be contaminated with it.
Yeah, you want all the good joy and everything.
Exactly.
My brother introduced me to that movie, Karen, and I was like, this is terrible, but it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. So Billy Bob Thornton does a good job. This is the good Santa, by the way. So this is the good Santa, not the bad Santa. Santa George, you get to be involved with kids and spreading joy to so many families. Maybe, I know we showed the Josh Reddick photo earlier. What are some other really fun things that you've been able to do over these last 7 years that really stand out?
That would be working with, you mentioned CASA. I was able to work with the Montgomery County CASA. They do a Christmas event every year. Now, COVID kind of knocked out a couple of those years, but I would do the Santa for their big event at I can't remember the name of the church that hosted that, but wow, that was one of my favorite moments. A young lady that I grew up with, she came with me, and her daughter was the number one elf, and I tell you what, that young lady, Elizabeth, and her daughter Joy, they really step up when an event like that comes up. She's the photographer, and she wanted to do pictures with the kids, but they have strict rules about keeping the families and the child without exposure, because of security reasons. So anyway, she just stayed around, and her daughter was with her elf get up, and man, she was high energy. Those kids loved her. I think I was just, hi, I'm over here.
Yeah, but they were watching on the elf.
Yes.
Well, you said they did all the work, so.
True, very true. So I enjoy every time I get together with those folks. I enjoy whatever's happening because they've done so much for me, and she had me come out and do a parade for the it was a Christmas parade for the Sharpstown homecoming, and I went to the high school, and they have a relatively brand new campus, beautiful. They took down the old Sharpstown, but when I went in, one of the varsity players was like, I don't think you're the real Santa. And I said, well, really? Go ahead, pull it. And he's like, that ain't real. I'm like, oh yeah? You pull it. And if it's not real, I'll do 20 push-ups. But if it's real, guess what you're doing? And he And I said, all right, drop. And all of his buddies were laughing. It's like, ha ha, Santa made you do 20.
Oh,
You
I
know,
love
it was hilarious. But, you know, I have to say, I love that school and what they do for those kids. Every child that is enrolled in that school, it walks with genuine manners, ma'ams and sirs for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wow, how refreshing. You know, it wasn't phony. It was just, you know, genuine respect for people that come and go on the campus.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds like just a lot of fun interaction there with you and that young person as well. So it's kind of neat. Well, as we continue to talk this morning to Santa George joining us, bringing a little Christmas in June here today on Good Morning Huntsville, as we wanted to spread a little holiday cheer early this year. You mentioned earlier about being a part of an association, and I think, you know, once you get involved in the community, everybody eventually knows a Santa somewhere in their community that's involved. And, you know, you're that guy around here. I know that there may be other people in the area, but you're the one that I know here in this area. You mentioned the mentors. How do you get involved in them? Maybe there's somebody out there today that's watching that's not even from around this area. Now, our friend Jarek is already watching in this morning, as always, from Fargo. And maybe there's somebody that wants to get involved. They said, you know, I've always wanted to be Santa and to be that in my community. Walk us through that process. You know, I know you got involved with an organization, but how does all that work?
Well, it's as I met one of my original mentors, he told me just go on LoneStarSantas.org, and there's information there on how to contact and what we're all about, and just get in touch with us. Then we'll invite you to our routine, regular meet and greets, and we do those. We just finished one at the Valley Ranch Barbecue, and that's that's interesting to see all the Santas overwhelm the house. You know, all come together in one meeting, and it's, you got to be kidding me! Look at all the, you know, but. It's a good time, and very easy to join the program. And we learn from each other, and you know, there's always some good takeaways from all the meetings and get-togethers. They're fixing to have a Christmas parade in Belton, 4th of July parade, and they put up a big float. And that's something to see when you got Christmas in July coming down the street, and they put on a good show.
Do you get to be a part of that one, or are you at that parade?
I don't know yet. We have other commitments that I'm trying to see if we can actually make that happen this year. I've missed out on the last couple, but I hope I get to be on that one this year.
Yeah, I imagine that's got to be one of the funnest things, too, because I was thinking, you know, I definitely don't have the look for Santa. That's you, George. You fit the mold perfectly.
You're not far from it. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, it's because that side of that, you know, luckily these flowers are kind of hiding that this morning, so thank you there. You know, Santa George has got that side angle view of what I'm packing here. I ate a cheeseburger and another chicken sandwich last night.
This might help you.
All right, what is this?
Oh, cookies.
You better unwrap it and find out.
All right, here we go. Karen, do you want to do the duties? Do you want to unwrap this?
Sure,
All right, Karen Denman is going to unwrap here, because, you know, there's always joy in unwrapping a gift. Karen Denman here, unwrapping this gift. We'll do a little play-by-play action. The tape is off. Here comes the rest. I'm just kidding. All right, what do we got here?
Let's check it out.
I'm going to tell you what you can make.
Oh, it is cookies.
Man. These look like they're homemade, too, man. Come on, look at
Did you make
this.
this morning?
No, we stopped and made them last night.
Oh, look at this. All right. Well, half of these are going with you, Karen, and your staff today. Is that all right?
Awesome.
Can we do that? I do have to ask Santa, what is the process for asking for a cookie oven at our local Walker County Federal Credit Union for Christmas? Can we ask for that?
Sure.
Yes, we need one. I've been asking for one for the last 3 years. We don't have one yet, but I think I've about got them talked into it.
Okay.
This has become a running joke on this show now, is that I figure, you know, after a few months we're just gonna speak that into existence. And Karen was extremely busy, but she still always says hello. And as I was walking out the other day, I pointed over to an area. I said, Karen, that's such a nice little area over there. A stove would fit perfectly right there on top of that counter for cookies.
There you go.
Got the spot for it already.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Well, George, thank you so much, Santa, for those cookies. I'm excited, man. And don't worry, we're going to eat those. We're not going to leave those for you in December because they won't be good anymore.
Oh, no. Oh, no. And I can tell.
Yeah. So we're already thinking, we've got events coming up here throughout Walker County. So I did want to give you an opportunity to let folks know that you are available for hire. If there's folks that have events, if they are looking for another Santa, maybe they need somebody to be involved to help spread a little holiday cheer. As we mentioned earlier, you are available for hire. You're just right down the road in Montgomery County. So
Right. And absolutely. I opened up my calendar at the first of the month. So if anybody should need me to come by and help with your Christmas party or home visit, whatever your function is, I'm available.
I was just thinking, as you're sitting here, we have great friends at MRC Creekside, and I'm not sure, I don't want to step on any toes about how they do things or not, or if they already have a Santa, but, I'm thinking this year it'd be great to go out to some of these retirement communities, sing Christmas carols, and have someone like you show up. I think that would be something that would be really amazing.
And I've been doing that for the last 3 years with Brookdale Cypress Station. They have a real nice assisted living place, and I get to do that one every year.
I'm going to have to give you a tour of MRC here. It's a beautiful facility.
Okay.
We've had some folks on this show before representing MRC Creekside, and so just an awesome place to be. And we'll have to arrange that, get you a tour over there sometime.
Absolutely. I'd love that.
One of the final questions that I have for you, Santa George, I just have to ask. When you came on, you said the ho, ho, ho. That's a signature. Is there training for that?
There is. No matter how formal or informal you want it to be. I was able to go to the Santa School in Branson, Missouri.
So they really have a Santa school.
Oh yeah, they
This
have
is awesome.
A ho,
regionally.
ho, ho school.
Yeah.
Ho training.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you what, it's a blast. You really learn and share new ideas with the other mentors, and you can go every year. Every year you're going to pick up something new, and it helps keep your portrayal fresh.
Is there a whole room of gentlemen that are just going ho ho ho? Do you go through a training for that though?
Oh no, it's if you put the suit on and the suit chooses you. That's all there is to it. You can't fake the portrayal. It's genuine, and I guess the first few times you do your ho ho hos, you want it to come out honest. You
Yeah.
don't want to ho ho ho. Kids can smell right through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Santa George, it's been such a privilege to have you here. I think it's just some cool insight, to kind of change things up a little bit here on the show this morning. But again, it's all about lifting people up. And I mean, when you think of Christmas season, even though it's so far away, I just took a page out of the retail book. Everybody starts celebrating. They start putting up Christmas stuff in June. I said, well, just do it on the show this morning.
Yeah.
Beat them to it.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I do like, for Christmas to start right after Thanksgiving. To me, that's just, I think like the way, and I'm not knocking any retail stores that do it because a lot of people do it, but when I go into a store and it's Halloween, I want to see Halloween, so I want to see Christmas trees. And it seems like every year the Christmas season is being pulled back more and more and more.
Yes.
Which I'm all about the message of spreading the cheer, but I also want it to feel like Christmas.
Right, and I tell you, doing the big public venues, Mall Santa. I remember once there was a family that came through, and you get a lot of kids that just come through, and they are just high energy. This one boy, he was so high energy. He was just screaming, I want this, and he was just a handful. So after he left, his family, they went off on their way, and Next family came up. The dad's like, wow, that boy was spoiled. And I said, no, they all smell like that.
Do you ever whisper in their ears, "You're not getting anything, get
Yeah.
out of here"?
No, but I've been tempted.
Awesome. Well, Santa George, appreciate you being here this morning, and we just wanted to highlight you. And again, thank you for being involved, in our community. I think it's great, and this is the message this morning. And I do have a message that I want to share at the end of the show, as we'll talk with Karen here in just a few moments and wrap up. But you never know who you're going to meet, and I think that's why it's so important to say hello to people, to acknowledge people. You were just kind of sitting by yourself, and I said hello to you. You said hello back, and that created a conversation that led to a friendship. And here we are, 3 years later, and we still communicate. Even when I was up in North Dakota, you'd send me messages on Facebook. We would still communicate. But most importantly, not just because of our conversation, and us being friends, but that has now led you to the Huntsville community. And that's where I'm getting at. You never know, whenever you embrace people, how that circle of influence is going to change and how that person may get involved where you are. And, in a way, you're starting to get involved here in Huntsville now.
And I love this community. It's I don't get to visit as often as once a year is not enough.
Put the wink of the eye there.
I do everything throughout the Houston area, and I really don't have any boundaries. So the more I can get involved around here, the better, because this is a special community. It's warm, folksy, and I haven't met a bad person yet. I mean, everybody's just, full of love.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Well, that's good. Well, good message here from our friend this morning, Santa George. We appreciate you so much for being with us. Again, make sure you find his Facebook page. For those of you listening later on the audio-only format, you can just search for Santa George TX, and you'll find him right there, facebook.com/Santa George TX.
Right.
Any closing remarks before we let you go, Santa?
Well, you said Kurt Weber was watching, listening in on it. Hey, Kurt, how you doing? Long time no see.
Yeah, you need to start being a good kid, and then you'll get your gifts.
There you go.
Just
see what I'm getting at?
Well, awesome. Well, once again, Santa George, check him out online, and we appreciate you being here this morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. Karen Dimon and I over at Walker County Federal Credit Union will wrap it up when we come back. Stay with us. A little bit more to go here this morning on Good Morning Huntsville. Hey, good morning, Huntsville. Welcome back in. Rob Hipp alongside Karen Denman as we wrap up. Man, a great show this morning. Hearing from, I thought, Santa George and I have been chatting, and I said, you know what, why don't you come in a little bit early on the show and let's chat. And so it was great to have him on. I wanted to highlight all the good work that he's been doing. And again, that whole relationship and meeting friends, we just talked right in the break that we're going to go have breakfast together over at Pinch and Plate.
So I didn't have to go to work. I'd join y'all.
Yeah, and I've got to go back to the house and then go get your gift and bring it to you later today. So, Karen, a lot of great things happening in our community, and that's what we always highlight. What have y'all been up to at Walker County Federal Credit Union? I know a lot of engagement, being involved in a lot of things, but what are some things you guys are working on right now?
Well, making loans, opening new accounts, just taking care of business.
Go by and see, man, I'm out of breath. I'm getting this checked out at the end of the week, by the way. I got up, moved the camera around, and then I'm sitting here. It's because Santa George is in here, and I've I made some mistakes this past year, and so I'm trying to be
Yeah.
on the good list. That's what it is. But a lot of great things happening throughout our community. Big thank you to Sweet Caroline's Floral Shop for bringing this beautiful arrangement to us here today. We do have a few more moments here on the show, and so continue to chime in this morning. A lot of friends have been messaging us. Sarah was commenting earlier. Also, Stephanie Pitts over at Advantage Specialty saying good morning. So good morning to you, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us as well. Melissa Barham joining us saying happy Monday. I love that. We wake up sometimes, Karen, and we get so involved in our day-to-day routine. And that's why I wanted to have this show. And Bridget and I came back to Huntsville. We said, what can we do? Because I wanted to stay involved somehow at a broadcasting level. But it's like, what can we do to lift each other up and encourage people? And I think it's more about just sharing reminders every day. It's kind of like, I'll put it this way, and I'm guilty of this too. When you go to church on Sunday, you feel good, right? Most of the time, unless the pastor's like knocking you down, and then you start feeling terrible, and that's just called conviction is what that is.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? You go to church, and like when you walk into a church building, you should feel this overwhelming joy. But then it's like as soon as the service is over, you walk out, and it's like, oh, I'm back to the real world, I want to maintain that same feeling of joy throughout the week. And I think if we can wake up every day and have that feeling and just have that reassurance, I think it helps out a lot, because sometimes we forget about it when we go through the motions. We get in this habit of waking up, taking a shower, eating, doing whatever we have to do, feed the dogs, take care of the baby, head out the door, go to work. And then before we know it, the day's over. And we've just went through that mundane, and I don't want to say like, doing all this, especially like taking care of a baby. I don't want to say it's like mundane, but it turns into like this mundane process. So it's like, how can we every single morning be encouraged and lifted up? Just being around each other, I think. And that's one reason we wanted to have this show, and we wouldn't be here without you guys, and we appreciate that very much.
Well, we've enjoyed it.
So, and we'll keep it rocking and rolling. Of course, we'll be having more events coming up. I did want to share this morning with you, Karen, and with our audience out there. Every day I try to think of maybe a devotional, something that, I do it, I'll be honest, I do these to kind of help me through things as well. I think it's important that when we think of things and we write it down, it helps us go through processes as well. And I think the experiences that we have, we can share with other people. And so this morning, I was just thinking about following your dreams. And one thing that I thought about was just harnessing your God-given talents. And I found a devotional, and I kind of rewrote some of it to kind of really relate. I don't ever want to just copy and paste. So I found one, and I kind of rewrote some things that meant true for me, but true for other people. And it was this morning. It was about using your talents to do what we love, to impact the world and to thrive. I mean, you're talented at what you do, Karen. You're so great with people. You love helping people. You're dedicated to what you do. That's a talent. Not everybody's born with this talent of being able to embrace each other. We can learn those things, but there's a true talent to that. And so, Ecclesiastes says, whatever work you do, do it with all your heart. Work as if you were working for the Lord, not for people. And this is what I wrote. God did not bestow upon us talents and passions to leave them unused or squandered. So maybe you're in a situation today to where you feel that you have talents, but they're not being used. Don't think about that. Everything that you have eventually is going to come out, and you've got to continue to chase your dreams. So we all face criticism and sometimes even dismissal from others who might not recognize our gifts. In those moments, remember that your value isn't determined by others' inability to see your worth. It's often a signal that you are not in the right place or with the right people. And I say that out of a good heart, not a bad heart.
Right.
But think about that. In the moments when you face criticism and even dismissal from others that might not recognize your gifts, remember that your value isn't determined by others' inability to see your worth. It's often a signal that you're not in the right place or with the right people. It's okay to get up and move and do things. The key is, don't let setbacks discourage you or make you doubt your abilities. Instead, see them as an opportunity to redirect your energy towards an environment that cherishes and utilizes your talents. Remember that God's purpose for you is greater than any human misunderstanding. Friends, this morning, keep moving, keep exploring, and stay committed to your passion. I think that is the key word, because sometimes we have these passions and then we feel like, man, that didn't work out the way that I wanted, and then we just leave our passion to the side. If you stay committed to your passion, everything will work out. That is your true reward. And so I don't know, that was on my heart this morning. I wanted to share it because I told a best friend of mine years ago, and I truthfully believe it's what ultimately led me to Huntsville, is I told him years ago, we used to get in our, I don't know if you ever did this, Karen, and back in the day, and when you were with friends, and we were just out of high school, And we used to just get in his truck and drive. We had no idea where we were going. And this was like pre-GPS.
Oh, yeah.
So you need no cell phone. So
Right.
it's like you drive and then all of a sudden it's 2 a.m. You're like, where in the heck are we at and how do we get back? Did you ever do anything like that?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it was an adventure for us. And my best friend, Kenny Hagstrom, one of my best friends, I remember one day we just got in his truck and started driving and we were talking. And I always joke around with Kenny too, because I kind of feel like, he's been a really big spiritual influence in my life. And I told him one time, I said, Kenny, if I ever hear you cuss, man, I'm going to quit believing, because he's that one guy that's so strong in his faith that like he keeps me in line.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like being, sometimes we joke around and there's jokes that we want to tell. We're like, I probably shouldn't tell that guy,
Yeah.
because you don't want to like disrespect that guy or whatever. But Kenny's been that friend for me. We started driving. And literally it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, Karen, and we end up way outside of Rockdale, Texas. And this was, again, pre-GPS, pre-phone. We're looking around like, where in the heck are we at and how do we get, we're in the middle of a cornfield,
Yeah.
A dirt road. And we're looking around
There's not
like,
much to Rockdale.
it's like children of the corn, man. We saw people start coming out, it's that kind of night. We weren't boozing it up, I promise. Kenny was not that kind of guy. But I remember telling him in that moment, we were just talking about work and where we're at in life. And he was telling me, he's like, I'm kind of just drained where I'm at. It's not like a bad environment, but I'm not really involved in my calling. And I'll never forget, I feel like the Lord laid on my heart this phrase is pursue your passion, not an unknown future. And I told Kenny that night, I said, Kenny, pursue your passion, man. What are you passionate? He goes, I'm passionate about music. I said, well, then just go to school. So we were in our early 20s and he and I both had not been to higher education. I said, just go to school somewhere, man, where you can be involved in music. Because he was big into like wanting to lead people and his belief and just leading people to Christ. And so he ended up going to Texas Bible College. I think that's in Lufkin, and pursued that and got a degree in music ministry and ended up never had a girlfriend, as far as I understand. Met his now wife at that college, 2 beautiful boys that are now growing up. And so, but it all led because he pursued his passion. And then he told me, and then he threw it back at me one time because I was running my IT company and I was thankful for it, but I was burnt out. I was miserable. I was just, and you can control your thoughts and but you're also a product of your environment. And if you get in a situation to where you're just burnt out, it's time to maybe hang it up and do something else. And so I told him, I was like, he told me, he's like, man, you remember what you told me? He's like, go pursue your passion. And so we stepped out completely in faith. 2018, sold that business that I was thankful for, but sold it. Didn't know what I was going to do. Spent a year and a half trying to figure it out. I'm in the middle of an insurance training in Dallas, Texas, because I ran out of money, and I was like, I got to do something. And because you got to pay your bills,
Right.
Being in banking,
They don't understand.
Yeah.
You're pursuing your passion.
Yeah.
Why do I have to pay this?
Hey, Karen, I got that car loan. Can you put it on hold for me?
'Cause I'm pursuing my passion.
Yeah, no, you got to pay your bills. And so, and that doesn't work that way.
Nah, it doesn't.
And I'll never forget that I told Bridget, I said, I really felt, and I prayed about it, sold the business, went through a year and a half, started to run out of money and realized, you know what, I'm really not pursuing what I want to do. And so I just started working really hard and got more involved in broadcasting. I think you got to blaze your own trail sometimes also. You may be in a position to where you feel like you're inadequate, to where nobody's reaching out to you. I called every single radio station in Austin, Texas, and not one of them told me that I could get over there. I thought, I was even offering, I'll come in and sweep your floors. I'll be the custodian. I just want to be in that environment so I could. Not one of them called me back. And so we created SHN, which is a broadcasting company for sports, and just did it online. And so we had to blaze our own trail. But I truthfully believe that if you have a passion or talent, you're going to find a way to make it work. And, and here we are today, and not me, but we are able to lift up the community because we're both passionate about that. So that's what we'll do.
Yes.
I don't know why that was on my heart today, but it was, Karen.
Well, I'm glad you shared.
Yeah, so thank you and appreciate all that you do, and and be involved, get involved in your local community and do whatever you can to make a difference. I did want to end with this today. I mean, what do you really, when you wake up in the morning, what do you look forward to the most, Karen? And I know that you can look at a million different ways of that, but what do you really enjoy when you wake up in the morning?
I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. That's all right. And that's why we say this, because you know what? It gets you to start thinking, and you start thinking about it. I know one thing that you are passionate about is helping others. And,
Yes.
when I come in and see that over there with you guys, that is a big thing that I always really enjoy. Before we go, I know we got to get rolling. You got to get to work. We got to get that cookie oven ordered today. I know that's on the back burner. So I do always want to mention, what is it today? What is here we go. All right, Karen.
Trivia Monday.
Trivia Monday tonight, rodeo.
Yep, 6:30.
6:30. Come out there tonight. Be a part of that. Bridget, I know you're watching, sweetheart. We're going to try to get, I know last week I said we were going to get out there. My nieces were with us, and they weren't feeling, one of my nieces wasn't feeling too well. So I'm going to see tonight if we can possibly get out there. We got to be a part of it. Today is National Red Rose Day. Are you a red rose fan?
Sure.
Bridget doesn't like roses. Like these flowers, like these are beautiful.
These are really pretty, these pink ones.
But I think like the red roses are cliche. It's like, red rose. You can get those at the convenience store for $1 in a tube, right?
Yeah.
But these you can't. These you can get at Sweet Caroline's Floral Shop. It's also National Jerky Day. Do you enjoy jerky?
Yeah.
Santa George is over here like pumping his fist. Yes, jerky. Oh, here you go, Santa George. It's National Peanut Butter Cookie Day. National Peanut Butter.
That sounds good.
I have no idea what this is. International Cachaca Day. What is that?
I don't know.
It celebrates the Brazilian-made drink called cachaca. It's also a day to learn. Okay, well, it's a nice little distilled spirit there. So if you're into cachaca, it's your day today. All right, Kara. Well, that'll wrap it up here today. Thanks for being a part of it. We'll be back on tomorrow. We've got a whole week lined up with guests, and so we'll be announcing all that. Stay tuned to our social media pages, Hello Huntsville, and also make sure that you follow Walker County Federal Credit Union online as well. They are always up to a lot of good here in the community. I can speak truthfully because I have my accounts with them. We have our loan with them. And they truthfully will take care of you. So if you're in need of a new bank, you're looking for somebody to take care of you. It's not a bank, it's a credit union. You're not a number, you're a name, and that's what makes it important.
Exactly.
And you'll get a nice wave from everybody, too. And I was just talking about, your staff and how friendly they are this morning.
Yes,
and so, maybe next week we'll highlight some of the staff and talk about them a little bit as well. And I know we've got a couple of other guests. We're going to try to get Delphina in here, I believe, on a Monday.
Yes, hopefully Delphina will be with us next week.
Yeah, and then maybe the folks from
Huntsville Cat Project.
Yeah, there's the Huntsville Cat Project. So I know that they were going to try to join us this morning as well, but weren't able to make it. And so we'll try to get that in the pipeline for next Monday.
Great.
Learn more about good people in our community. So, all right,
ho,
friends.
ho.
That's right. Yeah, ho, ho, ho on a Monday so we get going. Friends, as always, thank you for chiming in. Thanks for all of you that have entered in to win this beautiful bouquet of flowers. We'll be giving that away at the end of the week. I will keep them watered. Leah told me, she goes, hey, you got to keep watering those things. I learned after the first week.
Yep, that usually helps.
So we'll keep them watered. And we'll try to keep you watered, keep you up and going here on this show as well. Friends, as I end every single show, I want to remind you this morning that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. Good morning, Huntsville. God bless. We'll see you back at it tomorrow.